All right, welcome back. So we are now done day number 5 of the TI10 main stage. We are down to just 3 teams remaining, just 2 series remaining, one best of 3, one best of 5. It has been an incredible journey, not only with all of TI happening in the past week and a half that has already gone by so quickly, and it's been so fun to watch, but also just the growth of this channel. So thank you guys so much for everyone who's been watching. Maybe if you're not watching every single video or whatever, just anything like that, if you're stopping by the channel, just thank you guys so much for all the support over these past couple weeks. Over this past month, I'd say, has been quite spectacular. So with that out of the way, we are jumping into our second last review of the TI10 main stage, and today we had 3 series. We started in the lower bracket, then made our way up to the upper bracket where we had our final for the upper bracket between PSG LGD and Team Secret, and then we had our last series in the lower bracket as well. And even though we only had 2 O's today, even though we had a very small amount of games today, those games were very much worthwhile. There was a lot of super high quality Dota. Even in the games that were more one-sided, it was just super high quality, super entertaining to watch, and it's just why I think Dota is such a fun game as a spectator. You don't even need to play that. I know there's a lot of people that just don't even play Dota anymore, but they still watch because it's so exciting, especially at a tournament like this. So we start off the day with our Invictus Gaming versus Vici Gaming series. Of course, the winner of this secures top 4, and they will play against Team Spirit, who just yesterday first off beat OG and then beat their regional rivals Virtus Pro. Personally, I would not want to go up against Team Spirit right now. They look absolutely incredible. Ever since they lost that first series to Invictus Gaming, they have been unstoppable. And I would not want to be the team that gets in their way. Although now they've kind of weeded through all of the weaker teams, I would say. I won't say weaker teams. I'm just meaning that they've gotten through every single team besides the top 2 Goliaths of this year's International, and that's Team Secret and PSG LGD, who have already collided twice so far. And even though the first time they met was a draw 1-1, PSG LGD got the best of them today. But we'll get into that. So, like I said, we start in the lower bracket today, where we had Vici Gaming versus Invictus. Invictus, of course, being the first place seed of Group A, and Vici Gaming being the third place seed of Group B. These guys had not met before at this point. Obviously, they're from the same region, so they know each other quite well, but they didn't meet in the groups. They didn't meet at any point in the bracket until now. And yeah, holy crap, what a series. Specifically game 1. Again, I won't get into the nitty gritty of it because it was a long game and there was a ton of back and forth. But as a spectator of Dota 2, holy crap, this was an insane game. Another instance of a team forgetting Aegis. It's up for debate maybe whether or not OG purposefully forgot Aegis and left it in the pit as like a BM, but these guys just straight up left Aegis in the pit, and it was a close game in the lower bracket quarterfinals. So this was not a time to just be messing around like OG was. Nor was it a one-sided game like OG was. This was a game, or matter of fact, a series that really could have gone either way. This could have been easily a 2-0 for Vici, or a 3-game series for either team. Even though it was a 2-0 for Invictus Gaming, that is not a very clear indication of just how close this series was. Both games were intense. They were nail-biters. You didn't know who was going to win this game, or either game, until the bitter end. And yeah, it just ultimately came down to Invictus Gaming just winning the big team fights that they needed to win in the late game, slowly securing themselves, or slowly securing themselves a better late game. Emo, for one, had a fantastic series, especially on his game 2 on his Storm Spirit. Jesus Christ, you could not get away from him. And yeah, so Invictus Gaming comes away with a win. They win the first one on Radiant second pick, the next one on Dire first pick, so it didn't really seem to matter for them which orientation they had. But again, this really did not look like a game that would have been decided by something just by pick order or anything like that. This was a very close game. Everything was decided in the midst of the actual game of Dota. Mostly in the late game, too. As teams had leads early on, I know Vici Gaming actually had a pretty considerable lead early on in game 1, but they weren't able to really turn that into objectives, and so the game was still really, really close, even though they had quite a big net worth lead at that point. So, yeah, without getting too deep into it, after a fantastic series that I definitely recommend you check out. If you don't have time to check out the whole series, check out game 1 in that series. Invictus Gaming secures themselves top 4, where they will play against Team Spirit, who, like I had mentioned, is just coming off a pretty big win streak right now. Notably, Yatoro on that team. Holy crap. Especially after today. That guy's a god. He's played so many different heroes, and he just looks so good on all of them. So they secure top 4, and they'll face Team Spirit, who they haven't yet faced because Team Spirit was actually in the opposite group. Although they did meet once in the upper bracket, Team Spirit was sent down to the lower bracket by Invictus Gaming, so it was going to be another rematch there. And it's going to be really interesting to see if Team Spirit has really improved through their run, because even though they lost the series 2-1, it was a pretty Invictus Gaming dominant series. Even though they stole a game there, they were losing that game and they should have lost that game, but Invictus Gaming made a few crucial mistakes. And then in the next few games, Invictus Gaming cleaned it up and they just looked pretty dominant. So it was going to be interesting to see. But before we had the meetup of those two teams, of course, we had the elimination of VG Gaming. They finished 5th and 6th place, and they earned themselves $1.4 million. Next up, we head to the upper bracket. So usually I go down here and across. We actually went like this today and then back down. So we had PSG LGD versus Team Secret. This was a highly anticipated match. I'd say the two teams that people are highly anticipating to win this tournament. Team Secret kind of being one that people started picking after their performance in the group stage, even though they had a very solid past year and a half of Dota. PSG LGD people have been projecting that these guys are going to win ever since the start of the Animajor. They have looked unstoppable since then. And yeah, I mean, this was maybe not the intense series that we were hoping for in some respects, but the level of Dota was definitely there. It was definitely one of the more higher quality series that we've seen so far. Of course, these two teams have met before in the group stage, and they split their series 1-1, like I mentioned earlier. So, of course, at this point, Team Secret was one of the only two teams who have actually taken a game off of PSG LGD, the only other one being T1, who is now eliminated. So, will Team Secret be able to do it again? Well, I gotta say, both of these teams, if you watch any of the drafts in both games, they are incredible drafters. Team Secret really came prepared. They really knew what they were doing, but they just gave away the carry Tiny and the like in offlane who goes Aghanims. They thought they could handle it. They didn't give it away by accident. They did it on purpose. They really thought they could draft around it, and they had a really solid draft to handle it. It's just way too strong, and Ame just came online and just destroyed. As soon as he got 6 slotted, which was only about like 30 minutes in, he got slotted very quickly. It was over. Team Secret just couldn't withstand it. All of their heroes just died in 2 hits, even their hard carry. So Team Secret makes the adjustments and they ban it for game 2. And game 2 starts off very well for Secret. Actually, Team Secret was kind of dominating for the most part of the game. PSG LGD was hemmed in their base for a long time. The only problem was that Team Secret didn't really have the best means of actually taking towers, specifically high ground towers. They secured themselves all the outer towers, but they just couldn't break high ground. They tried with Aegis, and then eventually they buy back for one Roche fight on Matumba Man's Ursa. He gets the Aegis, but now he's got his buyback on cooldown. PSG LGD kill him when his buyback is on cooldown. They rush the throne. His buyback comes off cooldown. He buys back again. All Team Secret are fighting 5v5 in their own base against PSG LGD, and they just can't withstand them. They're just way too strong. And again, it's just another showing of just how good PSG LGD is. They were so patient. This was a over 50-minute long game, and they had spent about 10-15 minutes just hemmed in their high ground for the most part. Obviously, now and then they would smoke out. They would, get a pick off now and then and leave. But for the most part, they were hemmed in their base for a very long time. And they just waited for that opportunity. That team fight that secured them the game when Team Secret were trying to siege for the final time. Holy crap, the combo there. It was insane. Wow. I don't know what else to say. I just don't know how you beat these guys. And so, yeah, PSG LGD with this series win, again 2-0, very easily could have been Team Secret's game. Probably should have been Team Secret's game in game 2. They just made a few mistakes right at the very end, and it cost them. So PSG LGD secures top 2. They are attending the grand finals for the second time in 3 TIs. Of course, they were at the grand finals at TI8, and they made it to the lower bracket finals at TI9. So now they're top 2, and they'll face the winner of Team Secret versus Team Spirit. Of course, Team Secret having a chance to meet back with PSG LGD in the grand finals, and Team Spirit, the lower bracket dark horse, is going to try and put a stop to that. This is going to be a really interesting series because, notably in the group stage, the only teams that beat Team Spirit were Vici Gaming, PSG LGD, and Team Secret. And then if you add on the main event, you have IG. Well, and Team Spirit has already outlasted Vici Gaming. They've shown that they can beat Invictus Gaming, and now they're coming back for the only 2 teams that have beaten them so far. So it's going to be interesting to see if they've actually grown enough to have beaten these 2 Goliaths. I'm personally going to be rooting for them. Their run has been fantastic. I am loving all of them. Again, Yatoro is a freaking god, and that goes for everyone, but just specifically, especially that second game today, which we'll get into. And yes, Team Secret drops down to round 6 of the lower bracket, where they will face Team Spirit, like I mentioned, the 4th place seed of their same group. They're both from Group B, and they've played before. And like I mentioned, Team Secret beat them 2-0. It was not a very it was not a very close 2-0 either. It was rather dominant. And finally, moving on to our last series of the day, we had Team Spirit versus Invictus Gaming. Of course, Invictus Gaming making it here just after beating Vici. And Team Spirit has been waiting here since yesterday after they beat their own regional rivals, Virtus Pro. So, I don't even know what else you can say about this series other than holy crap. Like, if this is not a team riding off of that lower bracket dark horse energy and momentum, then I don't know what is. This team has completely transformed themselves since the start of the group stage, where they started 0-4, mind you. Of course, they've only, though they played against the toughest teams on day one, PSG, LGD, and Team Secret, but still, holy crap. Game 1, they absolutely handled Invictus Gaming. Yatoro playing, again, another hero he had not played yet on the main stage. He has played 11 different heroes in 11 games on the main stage. He breaks out his Phantom Assassin, a little skeptical because he builds Battle Fury, and Battle Fury notably has been a rather weak item. He's laning against a Tide Hunter who just generally should not have a problem with Phantom Assassin, but it just doesn't matter. His team makes so much space for him. He himself actually makes space by just being such a constant pressure on the map, threatening kills and threatening to join team fights, and he just goes off. He almost gets a rampage in this match, and then he would end up getting one in the next one. But holy crap, whole team coming together fantastically. IG needs to make changes, and they do. Game 2 admittedly is a much closer game, but it still does not go IG's way. Team Spirit is just dancing around in team fights. Toronto Tokyo finding all the right pickoffs, all the right initiations he needs to for his team to set up. Notably, Yatoro had a terrible start. His lane was awful. He was a Drow Ranger with a Disruptor support against an Earthshaker and a Weaver. He died 2 or 3 times. He was level 4 at 10 minutes with his tower taken. It was looking bad, but all of a sudden, this guy is the top net worth of the game, carrying it, and gets a rampage to end the game. And it's a well-deserved rampage. It's not like he was just the it's not like he was the non-impactful carry hero who just kind of swooped in. No, he was very impactful. He was a clear key for Team Spirit securing this win. And yeah, Invictus Gaming, they're just another victim that's just standing in front of Team Spirit's way on their way to what they're expecting is going to be a grand finals and maybe a championship. I mean, holy crap. So yes, with this win, Team Spirit secured top 3, where they will face against the loser of our previous series, Team Secret. In the lower bracket final, winner of that series goes to the grand finals to face PSG LGD. Meanwhile, Invictus Gaming is now eliminated. They earn themselves 4th place and $2.4 million. So yeah, that does it for my review of day 5 of the TI10 main stage. Again, this is my second last one. I've got one more review coming out tomorrow and one more preview coming out right after this video. So if you don't want to miss that, please subscribe. And thank you guys so much for watching. Again, it's been a fantastic week and a half of Dota that's already gone by so quickly. And again, thank you guys so much for all watching and supporting, leaving comments and all the positive feedback and all that stuff. So thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you in just a little bit.